Hey everybody, welcome back. So today I'm going to be doing 3 hacks, or 2 hacks and one preference uh, for your US General Series 3 6 drawer full service cart. And in order to do 2 of the hacks, you're going to need some anti-fatigue mat. This is the Harbor Freight brand. It comes in a 6 foot roll. It is 5/16 deep, like 5/16 in thickness, 2 feet wide, and it's a 6 foot roll. I've already used some of this roll for another project. So what we're going to be doing today with this is actually making a nice little pad for your lid, and then for the recessed area where all your screwdrivers and things can go. Some of the holes are really big, so if you don't have any wide handle bases on some of your screwdrivers and things, your tools will fall right through those holes, and you'll be spending days and days with a magnet trying to get them out. So what I do is I made like a little 3 inch wide or 2 7/8 inch wide pad that runs the length of both of these channels, and then I customize the hole sizes that I put in them. So all you're going to need is some of the mat, and you'll need some painter's tape in order to make a template that you're going to put on top of your mat, and a drill bit. You can use a Forstner bit, you can use a standard bit, it really doesn't matter. So I'm going to get a camera set up and turned around, and we'll take everything from there. So we'll be right back. So to make the template portion very simple, it's blue painter's tape. I don't know if you can see this. I got a little, this was the end of my roll. I got right to the end to make this. Let me back this camera out a little bit. So we went with blue painter's tape, and all I did was take a piece of tape, strip it across the side of this channel where the holes are, and then I found the center of the holes. I basically eyed it up and just used a pick and did a couple of hokey pokeys in the center of those holes. And now what that gives me the option to do, now having the centers, I'll be able to choose, let's just say I want to make these 3 holes. I think these are like a little over an inch in diameter. I want to make a 1/2 inch hole. So I can make this a 1/2 inch hole, I can make this a 1/2 inch hole, make this a 3/4 hole, depending on the size of bits that you have available. So you can make all these holes different sizes, or you can make them at least the size of the minimum hole that's already in here, which I think is a 1/2 inch or 5/8. So now that I have the template, all I'm going to do is walk this over to my bench, and I've pre-cut a piece of foam. I put a little index mark on this to show me where the actual end of the toolbox is, where the insert is. And I'm going to line this up on my piece of foam, and we're going to go from there. So let me switch this around, and we'll be right back. So the first part of this process, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to transfer these holes from the tape. Uh-oh, I knew that was going to happen. I'm going to transfer these holes from the tape to the foam. So that little registration mark that I put on the tape is going to mark up, or I'm going to line that up with the edge. This is pre-cut to the exact size. This is 21 5/8 in length. So I'm going to use that as a registration point. And if I continue to do this with my tape, we're not going to have any tape left. So I mark that up, I get this right to the edge. So now this would actually be mimicking the inside piece of the toolbox. And I'm just going to now, I'm going to take my pick, and I'm just going to poke holes in here all the way through. And the reason I'm doing that is because A, the tape doesn't stick very well, as you can see. B, if you try and put a drill bit through the tape while you're leaving it on as a template, well, you can imagine the mess that the tape turns into, and your frustration and aggravation. You could use cardboard if you don't have tape. You know, as long as you... Ooh, and that ripped already. That's okay. And as long as you have something that can make you a template to do this, you're in good shape. So now I've got my little holes plucked in here. And if I need to, I can reverse and go to the back to actually see. So I'm going to, I think I already have a Forstner bit here in my drill, and I'm just going to do this by hand. I'm going to find the centers, and I'm going to go very slowly as to not tear your fingers off and the foam. And I'm just going to make these holes. This is a 3/4 Forstner bit. So I have a 5/8 as well, or a 7/8 as well. Sorry. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use the 7/8 or not, but I'm going to make these. These are 3/4, and I'm going to make these holes. You could use a regular drill bit as well. So you can see all it does is it really just tears this out. I'm going to use this piece of wood. And there it goes. So now you've made a nice little hole. Okay, that is way smaller than the 3 or 4 back holes on that box. So you're not going to lose any tools, and you'll have something that's almost quite a friction fit that'll stay right within that channel. And makes things pretty nice. And you might have to go back. Now, if I use a regular drill bit, obviously this wouldn't be a problem. I wouldn't have this little flimsy flips or like scales at the back. You go back over with an X-Acto knife and cut it out. So I'm going to do these. I'm going to finish these holes up, and then I'll show you how I friction fit it inside the box, and I'll be right back. I made my holes, and I keep smacking the camera around, folks. And I'm just going to lay this in. And at 2 7/8, it is pretty snug. That's 2 7/8 in width. Now your boxes may be different. I don't know. You would think they're all within the same tolerances. But now I can take this handle, which has a very narrow base, and I can put it here, and it's not going to fall through. Okay. If you want, you can use double stick tape on this. You can use a magnet to stick it down. And you don't have to cut it at 2 7/8 either. You can cut it at, say, 2 5/8 and have a little bit of a narrow channel where you can probably stick something between the mat and the inside of the box here. But I wanted to make it a full width. So if I do want to lay something down like that, okay, it won't touch the metal. And I will now be able to take something as small as, let's see, I don't know, this might not cut it. My pick is going to be too small. But let's just say one of the older style acetate screwdrivers from Craftsman will not fall through there. So depending on what your needs are, this little hack will serve you. And you can make the holes any size you want. You can make, you know, 1/2 inch, that starts. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 5/8, 3/4. You know, you can make them larger, but these holes generally, for somebody who's a DIYer, who's not really using big tools, you know, big pry bars, that hole is enormous. And you can see even on, this is one of my old school Craftsman's, that if I put this in here, that's going through. So that's a problem. We don't want to have that problem. So this was my hack idea. I'm going to make another one for the other side later. I'll get some screwdrivers together, and then I'm going to show you the hack for the, not really a hack, but the little customization for your lid to make a nice little landing pad, so to speak, if you want to use this as a workspace. So I'll be right back. This lid in depth is 22 3/8. I'm going to call it 22 1/4 for the piece that I want to cut in width. So the reason I'm measuring this is because this mat is 24 inches wide, which means you're going to have, if you went from the back edge, you're going to have about 2 inches that hangs over the side. So I'm going to cut a piece the full width of the box first, and then I'll cut that excess off. And this measures in at 33 3/4. I'm going to cut it back to 33 5/8. So I'm going to cut 33 5/8, and then I will make another pass with the roll going that way and cut a piece, and I'll be right back. So here's our mat cut, and there would probably be several ways that you could handle this piece on the top. You could leave it free floating. It's just a top piece that you throw on every once in a while. If you want it on here permanently, you can double stick tape it. I personally do not want to put double stick tape on my lid, so what I did was I got 4 small neodymium magnets and I just crazy glued them to the corners. While I don't want this to be permanent, I would like it to have a little bit of a non-slip action. If I was using it for something, I don't want it to slide all over the place. And as you can see, I actually gave myself a little bit of a border here. So the mat doesn't go all the way to the end. I'm not going to be doing any heavy duty work on top of this if I ever use it for anything. If I do use it for anything, it's probably going to be to keep something out of my way while I'm shooting video down here, or I'm using it just for a temporary space. So I can lift this lid now and that will not fall off. And it will stay in place out of my way. I could put a few more magnets in the middle if I so desire, but I think this will eventually lay flat. The worst part about dealing with this mat is because it's in a roll. You're probably going to want to take it out of the package, roll it backwards on itself, put a couple rubber bands around it, and let it sit overnight before you think of laying it flat. I didn't think of that, obviously. So you can see it's still a little floofy in the middle. But now the magnets, I'll be able to, I can just stick my hand under here and the magnets will come up. The magnets will not leave like a very bad, won't leave any scuffs or anything on the powder coat. So that's hack number 2. And I'm going to show you it's not really a hack. It's more of a preference for number 3. These drawers have the full slider, the locking slider. So you got to stick your fingers underneath, push to the left in order to open the drawer. Well, I don't want to do that with this cart. This cart is permanent in this spot down in the basement. It's not going to be walked across a huge shop on a daily basis. I don't have to worry about, something tips the cart over that my drawers are going to open. So, you can, if you already didn't know this, see if I can get in here. You can remove these sliders, and it can be a little bit of a trick, but all you really need to do is get your finger or a finger in under here and just give this a little pull. There's a little tab under here, so a finger under here, another finger underneath this part, because that's what you're going to pull on. And the reason you put your finger under this piece is just so you don't break it. You don't want to break the tab. It's more important to have the pull tension on this part. So you could really do it with one finger, but this just keeps that piece from bending a little bit. So 2 fingers and pull. Your slider comes out. And you are now free of the monster that is the lock feature. And you can now open your drawers at will. So for me, I'm the only one down here doing any work, and I just thought it would be a feature that I'll take advantage of. And now you can see again my little hack for, sorry guys, I want to back this up a little bit so you can see my pad cover is on, and I'm pretty much ready to go here. Again, this is now, these neodymium magnets are strong enough to hold the pad, but you can see doesn't really have a lot of power. Now, if I put a bigger neodymium magnet on there, yes. So this is just to keep this in place so when I open my lid, it doesn't go flying all over the place. And it's in a good spot. And this little hack for the screwdrivers is going to help me too. So I hope it helps everybody out that has watched this. So until next time, guys, I hope everybody's doing well. And I'll see you in the next video.